Okay, question from the floor.
Good afternoon. My name is Nasser Dugasan. I am a communications graduate here at the University of the Philippines, Baguio, and I'm currently working with the Department of Social Welfare and Development. My first question is, do you think that there is an imperative to create or establish a mutually agreed protocol or guideline, national guideline, to ensure that whether or not there will be violations on, I mean, violations against responsible and ethical reporting among, and I guess this is just my personal thought, and that mutually agreed protocol or guideline should be agreed within among communication professionals, media practitioners, and at the same time media networks. My second question is there also an imperative to have resource sharing or manpower sharing within the public and private sector? Because it's really an undeniable fact that social media now plays a major role in promoting and advancing environmental advocacies on protection management and at the same time preservation of natural resources. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Gemma?
Do I get this right? Your question is really like, how do you police the social media, right? Given like it can go so wild sometimes. Well, this is from our experience. As much as we want to do that, it's practically impossible to do that. Because, for instance, news break, when our website has this comments feature. So, like, anybody can post a comment. Now, if we choose to delete a comment in our platform, chances are whoever posted that comment will link to that story and talk about the story we wrote about and criticize it in another channel. So it's beyond our control. Now, what do you do about it? You listen to the feedback. If it's something that's worth correcting yourself about, then we correct ourselves. And if it's something we need to respond to, we respond to it. But if it's just criticism, we have learned to take it and just let them talk. Because what we noticed is that even baseless criticisms, for instance, what we noticed is that the crowd also, like within hours after somebody posted something critical, usually if your story stands, somebody answers and defends you. So it's like you don't even have to defend yourself. Of course, you have to make sure that your story is correct and you stand by that story. But policing, it's very difficult to do that. And not engaging because of all these like critical comments is also not good. Why? Because it's like you defaulted. You just didn't engage. People will keep talking even if you don't do it. Even if you don't engage, people will keep talking. So it's still better to respond. It's still better to engage, and it's still better to be out there and to get involved in the conversation.
Thank you so much. We'll take two more questions before we wrap up. Are there any? The teachers have been quiet. Yes, ma'am. Chancellor.
I had a lot of questions, but yung isa, kasi you say that just tell the stories. You are just journalists, we are just journalists, we are storytellers. I disagree. and maybe I'd like some reaction from you, because the choice of story by itself is a decision, and it is we choose, like pag-usapan natin ng Balili River, kung minsan napupunta sa kung saan-saan, we have to sex things up just to attract attention, and it caters to the more sleazy, if I will, side of some of us, na kailangan may sexy dun sa TV Patrol para you hold us until the end of the broadcast. Pero hindi, this new media and people, enlightened journalists who would like to optimize its power should realize that the choice of story is very important. So I'd still like to, parang medyo bitin ako, if I might say so, na social networks for social change. But in the end, parang anong pag-uusapan natin? We as sometimes nga newsmakers, news deliverers become newsmakers. Tapos, nagkakanta, hilo-hilo na tayo sa kwan, and it's not healthy. Oftentimes, it is not healthy. So, paano ba ito? Paano ba itong, we don't, kasi I've heard this before, just we'll tell the story, and everybody just reacts. Pero I'd like some social change. It's not the future sometimes. I can't wait because I'm old. I can't wait for the future. I want the river cleaned now, as soon as possible. I want us to educate people now. Wag nating pag-usapan yung post anything and things will there is the frustration, maybe because I'm old, I don't know, or I was young and I had become old. But that's the thing that we have to respond to. There are other things, no? There are other issues like responsibility, etc. And that's true. But the main responsibility is still the choice of story. Kasi andyan na yung tool eh. It's very powerful. So, nakalimutan ko na tuloy yung ibang questions ko. But as I said, kailangan na i-shepherd natin ito. And that's part of the responsibility. It's not just saying, put this in the hands of people, bring the information, bring the stories to people. Because sometimes people ask, ano ba talaga ang dapat gawin? No? And, the other thing pala, sometimes it strikes me as a bit, many people, they have cell phones, and maybe they have access to internet cafes, no? But I don't think that ganun ka-wide ang kwan pa rin right now. Again, you might talk about the future. Yes, maybe in the future everybody will be on Facebook. Yeah. But I will suggest, especially in times of calamity and disaster, that maybe, siguro hindi kayo, but some other local government units like the mayor here, can think about connecting social networks to radio. Kasi ang radyo, ang bawat household, may transistor radio, may baterya, hindi lang nakaka-receive ng internet one. But if something is nagla-landslide na doon, the first line is the radio, especially in these parts. So, maraming salamat.
Thank you, Chancellor Macan Santos. Comment?
I think, Chancellor, I'll disagree that you disagree with us. All of us believe that every story is a choice. Maguindanao isn't sexy. Human rights isn't sexy. Many things don't sell. Even your story doesn't sell. But I think what we're all trying to explain is that it's not just posting the story. It's going out there and having the guts to ask the question and post the story and push it until somebody listens to you. We agree that journalism isn't just telling the story that you're told to tell. I don't think there's such a thing as objective journalism, in that everyone has a different set of lenses. Everyone looks at the world in a different way. And I hope that everyone in this room wants to see the world that way, I mean, their own way, and say it. I agree, ma'am, that there are many stories that take over the news, whether radio, television, or online, that aren't as important as the concerns of many people. And these are things all of us who work on the mainstream or occasionally work on the mainstream hope to correct. But at the same time, the wonderful thing about social media is that the things we don't see, you see. And you can tell us. And we will be at fault if we don't pay attention. Tell us, so we'll do something. And we're grateful to you, ma'am, for telling us that there are more stories here.
I'd like to add. Okay. Yeah, I do agree that, for instance, in case of disasters, yeah, government officials should take to radio because, yeah, that's a channel that's available to a lot of people. I mean, like, what I'm saying is that the thing with social media is that there's no single person controlling the information in radio, in all this traditional media. There's somebody deciding on what gets aired or what gets published. Like, there are gatekeepers, like print. Who decides what gets posted? The editors. We know, we were there. TV. There's only a limited amount of time you can get on TV. Why? Because, for one thing, there's entertainment as well. Like, yeah. Like, would you rather watch something like about, I mean, like, stuff like, we're losing all the time to entertainment. So yeah, you can get on TV, get a lot of eyeballs on TV, but only if you get through the gatekeeper. Same thing with radio. Now, in social media, you can actually have the power to direct the course of the conversation. If it's compelling enough and you are able to get as many allies as you can already, you network properly, then yeah, you can reach many people. And without the gatekeepers, bypassing the gatekeepers.